I'll be talking about how America's use of trillions of dollars on foreign problems is not doing us good for our country. So bad spending decisions, the government decisions on foreign spending aren't working. The United States has spent trillions of dollars on defense systems, fighting terrorism, and war. Yeah, it's essential to an extent that we do this, to protect our country, but when it reaches the point where our government is spending trillions on systems that are doing the opposite of defending people, including Americans, then I think that's upside down. America is still paying off wars in Iraq, Pakistan, and Afghanistan after so many years, and their funding for groups in the East isn't doing them good. Although for the government, which says they're doing what they can to protect citizens, they're actually feeding the fire. The U.S. has planted itself in the Middle East and North Africa for many years to benefit from. This might be for oil, natural resources, or other ways to gain advantages. They claim they're not only involved with the Middle East just for fossil fuel, but most of the problems that are happening between America and the Middle East seem to be about oil. America is spending 45% higher than before 9/11 on military and defense systems. That's more than what the next 7 countries combined spend. That's a lot of money, I think, to be spending, because obviously I think that countries like China, France, Japan, they're in a pretty good state. They're not worried, and the United States is spending a ton of more money than them on this stuff. The war in Iraq, Pakistan, and Afghanistan costed over $4.4 trillion, and it's still increasing today. After how many years has it been? The government is now borrowing money from other countries to pay this off, and that means interest. So we have to pay interest for the money we borrow to pay off for past wars. The peak of the interest payments would be in a few years it would reach $1 trillion, and that's just the interest. And they also have to pay for veterans, medical care, and they also have to pay $1 trillion by the next 10, 20 years. The Middle East and North Africa can be known as a breeding area of terrorism, where many terrorist groups can be found. The U.S. made an effort called counterterrorism to attack and contain the terrorism after 9/11. But according to Mika Zenko, most people in Washington agree this effort isn't working. In the beginning, these efforts worked to degrade and reduce extremism and their threats, but it's doing the opposite now. The counterterrorism system is a mix of targeted drone strikes, U.S. special raids, and training units of local forces. The counterterrorism is provoking them to take revenge, and it's actually making more committed terrorists. They're making more terrorists.
Ooh.
Our military tactics are failing.
Oh my God.
Stopping terrorism and paying off debt aren't the only things America is currently spending money on. Apparently, wherever there's war and conflict, you can find CIA and private military profiteers funding both sides of the problem. They want to keep the war rolling because, according to John Stockwell, a former CIA station chief, enemies are actually needed to keep the U.S. military machine turning. Am I the only one who thinks that's ridiculous? No. They're funding both sides of
Yes, Zeinab, I love your thing.
Yeah, so they fund both sides of a war to keep it going, and like that's to benefit from like enemies. They
So
say
they
that
agree with war?
Huh?
They agree with war?
they need war to keep their military running.
You know what?
A NATO official even said that millions of American dollars are making their way to the Taliban. I don't know if anyone here knows that Al-Qaeda was officially funded, like originally it was funded by and trained by the US, but Al-Qaeda means the database in Arabic. Of course, America was using this group for their advantage, but it got out of hand and they turned against them. That doesn't seem like a wise thing to spend money on, but we see the same mistake happening when the US funded the Syrian rebels. Let's see, what happened when the Syrian rebels got power and money? They turned to ISIS. I love that name though. ISIS. I mean, it's one thing if you're doing this to benefit from, but the US is not benefiting. It's making terrorist threats a bigger problem, putting us in more danger. In the 1970s, the CIA used Muslims in Egypt as a way to stop the Soviet Union, as well as Sareka Islam, Jamaat Islami, and soon after Al-Qaeda and ISIS, all which are now labeled terrorists. Most Islamist groups are used by the U.S. to take down the Assad regime in Syria or to stop influence of Iran in the region. It doesn't look like it's ending too well. What could we have done? What could we have done?
Nothing.
With all the money we spent on like what I just reported to?
Right. The Haitians, they need help right now, Haiti.
Guys, we got less than 3 minutes.
Okay. Let's see. The U.S. spends more than $700 billion on defense systems, plus another few trillions on war-paying debt and failing attempts to end terrorism. It takes about $175 billion to get rid of poverty in the United States. Poverty is a big problem in the U.S., but we're spending all that money on foreign conflict. If only the government would stop funding wars and just focus on defense, maybe we would have more than enough money to eliminate poverty, but our borrowed money and tax dollars aren't going to the poor, and instead being used for, like, it's not being used wisely at all. And if you can see here, just a fraction of our military spending would eliminate poverty in the U.S. So we could use just a little of that money to get rid of a huge problem in America, but instead we're using that for something.
No, Bo, you said it's so questions.
Okay, guys, I would love that. Can you ask it at the end? We gotta keep rolling.
I'm done.
Okay, great.
They said you dating.